What is up, guys? Beancrew49 here. We are back on the Desolation map. And I think last Monday we worked on the IHOP exterior, and I thought, what better way to celebrate a week than to work on the interior? Oh man! So we're gonna work on the IHOP interior today. I'm gonna get some help from Sid, STM Sid, and he helped me a little bit with the floors. And this is a really unique floor that you're about to see, because he said once he finished baking the floor, he felt dizzy. So you'll see why he felt dizzy in a moment. But we'll just take a quick tour of the exterior. One thing I want to just say, guys, these exteriors are so easy. I mean, I'm not the best exterior builder by any stretch of the imagination, but when it comes to time put into it, oh man, these interiors are just so consuming. They just eat you alive. So I'm very lucky to have help sometimes. Once in a while I get some help from somebody like Sid. So thank you to Sid for making this go faster. It helped the video too, because it made things go faster. You get to see more progress than if I'd done it by myself, and it's less repetitive. Another thing I want to state is these potions are just out of control now since this update. The longest I can't get potions that last longer than 6 minutes or whatever, so it's, you know, it's really hard for creative builders now. If I want an 8-minute night vision potion, I have to use splash, which I don't like to use. I like to drink it because it lasts longer. Anyway, these are my personal problems. I hate to burden you with these problems. Okay, no, never mind. Let's get into what I want to get into today, because today is Monday, and that means it's creative question of the week time. My favorite part of the series, where I answer a question from the community, that is you. And this week was really great for questions. It's really strange. Some weeks I'll get like one or no questions even sometimes. Other weeks I'll get like 7 questions. I don't know which to pick from. I really wanted to talk about my thoughts on 2016. Several people asked me about that, but I figured that, you know, the year is so subjective. You know, whatever kind of year you had, that's what the year was. So, you know, everyone's saying, oh, 2016 was a horrible year. I had a fantastic year. So I figured that, you know, I'm not going to like explain how good the year was, because you weren't in my shoes, right? Okay, so I chose a different question, and this is a very interesting question. So be sure to leave your questions in the comment section below, so you can be a part of this journey, a part of this channel, part of this creation that we're doing here, and just, you know, join the ride. Ask a question, so leave it in the comment section below. All right, today's question comes from Bruh. It's Pop Style, and he asked, Bean, have you ever had sleep paralysis? If you had, tell us about your experience. Bruh, it's Pop Style. Thank you for this question. I have had sleep paralysis, and I'll explain it right now. So this video, I'm going to explain what happened to me, and then I'll give you the story of what happened to me, and then what I think happened to me. You'll see. So for those of you who don't know, sleep paralysis is basically what happens when you wake up during REM sleep. And REM's, I'll explain all this, guys. Okay, REM sleep is the phase of your sleep cycle where you do the most dreaming. It's called rapid eye movement sleep. And this is when your brain releases a lot of chemicals into your body to, it kind of numbs your muscles, it promotes brain activity, it kind of unites the left and the right hemisphere of your brain. So REM sleep is a very beneficial time. You know, if you don't get REM sleep, then you really haven't fully healed in your sleep cycle. So, you know, if you only get 4 hours of sleep, you don't really reach REM, and therefore you don't feel rested because you never got that REM cycle, which is where all the healing occurs, and that's where all your dreaming occurs. Most of your dreaming occurs during the REM cycle. So this is like 5 or 6 hours into your sleep. That's when the REM occurs. Now, what sleep paralysis is, this is what science says it is. I'll tell you what science says it is. They say that it is you waking up during REM sleep and having a hallucination, basically a dream in reality. And I know that doesn't make much sense, but let me tell you what happened to me. And this happened to me, I would say, like 8 years ago. And I was just sleeping in bed, you know, like I do, right? And all of a sudden, my eyes shot open, and I was very aware that I was awake. Now, you know, kind of when you're dreaming, like when you're in the dream, you don't know that you're dreaming, but when you're awake, you know you're awake. And I knew for 100% certainty, I knew I was awake. But there was some weird feeling that was washing over me, and that feeling was pure, unadulterated fear. For some reason, I was scared out of my mind. I didn't know why. I had just woken up, and all I know is I felt intense fear. So I tried to move, and I noticed that I couldn't move my arms or my legs. You know, try as I might, they wouldn't move. I thought nothing of it, but my neck could move. So I turned my neck to the side because I felt something going on off to the side. So I turned my neck to the side, and standing right next to me, right next to my bed, is like a shadowy girl. She must have been like 7 or 8 years old, wearing a white dress. And I looked up to her face, and her face was just a black mess. It was like just blackness. And she was just standing over me as I slept, just watching me sleep right next to me. And of course, the first thing I tried to do was scream. I tried to scream as loud as I could. And, oh, by the way, I looked at the alarm clock. It said like 3 or 4 a.m. So I tried to scream as loud as I could. No sound could come out. Like, my body wouldn't produce sound. I tried to move my arms as much as I could. I tried to fly up out of bed and like punch the girl in the face and run out. I couldn't do any of that. I was just paralyzed. I couldn't move. And this girl I watched this girl for about 3 or 4 seconds just looking over me. And then I had to close my eyes. I wasn't going to look at her anymore. If I couldn't move, I wasn't going to look at it. So I closed my eyes for a while, just trying to scream, trying just my hardest to scream, and I couldn't. I remember I felt very cold, very cold. I felt basically helpless because I couldn't move. And then when I opened my eyes again, the girl was gone. And that was like, I closed my eyes for maybe 5 to 10 seconds. And then she was gone. And I felt fear before I saw the girl. But when I saw the girl, I was in absolute terror. Okay? Absolute terror. And I just didn't know how to react. I mean, all I could do was scream, and I couldn't do that. So the feeling of terror that washed over me was basically probably the scariest I've ever been in my whole life, I would say. And it was definitely a traumatic experience. I don't think I fell asleep again that night. I think I stayed awake for the rest of the night. And I didn't get much sleep that night. And I told my girlfriend, and she was like, well, are you under a lot of stress, or what's going on with you? And I was like, no, I'm not under any stress. So I just went on living my life thinking this was some bizarre incident, kind of fearful it would happen again. And I told people, no one knew what was going on. They just thought I was going nuts. Until I looked online and I've learned about sleep paralysis. So basically what happens is, this is what science says, is sleep paralysis occurs when you're in REM sleep, when you're dreaming. For some reason you're startled awake, which is what happened. And your dream world is kind of interspersed with your reality. And the two kind of mesh for a few seconds. And so what they're saying is that girl was a hallucination that I had. The reason why I couldn't scream and I couldn't move is because during REM sleep, your body secretes some chemicals that basically makes it so your body can't move. Because that's what, in order to heal and rest, your body needs to be immobile. So that's what your body does. It's self-healing. And it puts out these chemicals so you can't move your muscles, basically. And that's what happened to me. That's why I couldn't move my muscles. That's why I couldn't scream. That's why I was seeing the girl. But so that's what I bought. I was like, oh, that's what happened. It was a fluke occurrence. I hope that never happens again. Okay. And I looked into it, and a lot of people there's almost always negative. A lot of people see negative things, demons or, demonic figures or shadow people, which is kind of what I saw. She was a shadow figure for sure. But I distinctly saw a white dress, which looked kind of dirty, but that shadowy face was, whoa, man, that was not what I was expecting. But now as I've grown older, and I understand more about this reality that we're living in, I now see that what was happening was I wasn't hallucinating that girl. That girl was as real as you or me. She was just a fourth dimensional entity. She was a real person, a real thing, a real entity. I hate to say person. I don't know if she was a ghost or some demon. I'm not really sure exactly what she was, because a lot of things exist on the fourth dimension, but she was a fourth dimensional entity. And the reason why I was able to see her is because I was using my brain as a whole unit. So I did a video on this before. The left brain is just facts, figures, dates, times. I'm hungry, the logic, and it's the side that has no creativity, that has no imagination, no dreaming. The right side of your brain is creativity, art, imagination, that sort of thing, right? So when the two of those hemispheres are kind of working in tandem, which often happens during your dream state, you can kind of access higher realms of dimensions. You can access higher dimensions, higher dimensional realities, which are occurring all around us. And there's no physicality in the fourth dimension. I know I'm losing some of you here, but stick with me, and maybe it'll make sense in the end. I don't know. But basically, the fourth dimension is where you have your dream state. It's like the third dimension, only there's no place and there's no time. You can travel freely through the fourth dimension, through time and space, with just a thought. Basically, there's no physical body. You have an astral body, and you guys can look up all of this. Look up astral travel. Look up. Lucid dreaming, and science doesn't really understand this. The technology of science hasn't really progressed enough for us to measure these things. But those who are in contact with the fourth dimension know all too real that it's real. So I know it's real because I've experienced the fourth dimension myself, and you have too. That's the thing. Your dreams. Everyone says, oh, "Okay, my dreams are occurring in my head," right? Because that's the sensation of it. You're just imagining stuff in your head. But that's not true. When you're sleeping and you're dreaming, you are projecting your consciousness, not your physical body, because your physical body stays in your bed, but you're projecting your consciousness into the fourth dimensional reality, into the fourth dimension. And that's where your dreams occur. And in the fourth dimension, anything you imagine becomes real. So your dreams that you are imagining are really happening on a reality that is not tangible physically. Does that make sense? Post some questions in the comment section if you have any. I'm not doing a great job of explaining this because I'm not no expert on it, okay? I just have limited experience, but I do know a little bit, so that's what I'm sharing with you. If you want to do added research, check out astral traveling, astral projection, lucid dreaming, all sorts of things that occur on the fourth dimension. And it's called the astral plane by some people. If you want to look it up online, put in astral plane, see what comes up. But that is basically, that is where ghosts live. That is where fourth dimensional beings live. That's where things that you might call aliens exist. And there's all sorts of things on the fourth dimension. And I don't want to get into all of that because it's a big to-do. But that's also where your dreams occur. And your dreams happen there. So basically what happened is I woke up while I was on the fourth dimension. And it wasn't a hallucination. It was a real girl. But she was a fourth dimensional girl. She wasn't a third dimensional girl. So if I had been able to reach out my hand, I would not be able to touch her because she doesn't have any physicality. But my brain was traveling in the fourth dimension when it was suddenly woken up. And I don't know what woke me up. Who knows? Maybe I was having a nightmare. It could have been. It could have been. But I'm never going to forget that day. And that was my first experience with the fourth dimension. And I didn't know it at the time. But now looking back, I do realize that was my first experience in the fourth dimension. And it definitely did not pique my curiosity. I didn't want to know anything about anything after that experience. I was like, I'd rather just, go on with my life pretending like I just hallucinated all that, because it was terrifying. I can't tell you how terrifying it was. The feeling of fear was more intense than anything I've ever felt fear-wise, I think. Pretty sure. And just my urge to scream was so unbearable. I just wanted to scream as loud as I possibly could. I don't know why. Maybe to wake the neighbors up. Someone help me. Oh man, but now I try to do it on purpose. I try to astral project on purpose, and I want to go back there. I think I'm ready to really learn more about it now that I'm older and more mature, and I'm armed with more knowledge and more wisdom about it. I didn't even know there was a fourth dimension. Period. When that happened, I didn't know such a thing as the fourth dimension existed, so I wasn't ready to learn about it then. But now that I know and I have more information about it, information is the key to releasing fear. Fear is just not understanding something. That's all fear is. You don't understand something and you're not sure how to deal with it, and so the human reaction is be fearful. But you arm yourself with knowledge, and suddenly the thing that you were afraid of is nothing. It's just a thing. So that's kind of where I am in my journey at this point. Is exploring the fourth dimension is something that I'm doing actively, and I do it through meditation mostly. But you can astral project, you can astral travel. It's very easy once you learn how, but the learning how of it is takes a lot of patience. So I hate to say it's easy, but I can't do it regularly, so I'm no pro at it or anything. But I'm trying, guys, and I'll report back what I learned. If you guys are ready to hear it. If this is like so over your head, like this guy's crazy, that's fine. I don't expect you to believe this, okay? If you would have said to me when I was looking at a girl sitting next to me that she was a fourth dimensional entity, then I would have just looked at you like you were crazy, right? Like everyone looked at me when I explained what happened to me during my sleep paralysis. So if you do get sleep paralysis, if that's happened to you, or if it happens to you and you remember this video, don't be afraid, don't be alarmed. Whatever you see can't harm you in the physical sense, okay? So don't worry about, you know, it attacking you or anything. Just ride it out. Don't be afraid, and learn from it and see what your lesson through all of this is. It might be something that you need to learn, and that's why it's happening to you. So who knows? So I think I learned a lot in that experience. It took me some time to figure it out, but I'm getting there. So, you know, look at it as a positive thing. It's something that happens to everyone, pretty much. At some point in your life, it probably will happen to you. The odds of you waking up during REM sleep suddenly and, you know, still remaining in REM sleep is quite high. So it usually happens to everyone at least once in their life. So don't be afraid if it happens to you. All right, thank you for that question, bro. It's Pop Style. That was Creative Question of the Week. We talked about sleep paralysis. Oh, that was fun, exciting. I haven't really shared that story with too many people for the simple fact that they, you know, a lot of people who haven't experienced it or just think you're nuts. But that's fine. I don't care. I'm sharing it with you all today. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. All right, guys, if you guys like that, please be sure to leave a like and put a comment to Creative Question of the Week below and share this video and subscribe for more. I really appreciate it. Leave a like if you enjoyed this. Happy Minecrafting. Peace.